president want to change his vice? I mean, you look at the vice president, Shettima. You could, to a large extent, say he has been very, very loyal and faithful, has discharged his responsibilities, his duties, you know, with every form of loyalty you could ask of a politician. He's not given the president any problem at all. So why would this idea of changing him even come up in the first place?
Welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. My people, we don't come back again with another bunga update. The reason why President Bola Tinubu wants to change his vice, Kasim Shettima, has been finally exposed. Una no say APC, they form like nothing they happen, everything they okay. As I'm talking to you, after watching this video, you understand that APC has cracked. Una no say Zulu, the Borno State governor, has been crying how Boko Haram have taken over, you know, Borno State. They say that one are number one, why they won't change Shettima. Una no say they talk say whether Shettima be chairman of those people. Okay, apart from that too, una no say President Bola Tinubu, he dey do things, okay, anything that benefits only him. My people, there is problem, there is kata in APC. I want you to bring out your mind and watch this video. From now till 2027, there's going to be a lot of showdown. Okay, let's get there. I'll be right back.
Again, this is speculation at this point. We cannot in good conscience say that is going to happen. True. But if you look at the antecedent of Mr. President, he has a penchant for changing his deputies. Do you know he had in 8 years, I think he had 3 or 4 deputies in 8 years as Lagos State Governor. Femi Pedro, Mrs. Koforola, Bukno Akerele, there was the APC, AC party chairman that was also there, about 4 or 3. So he has that penchant not to share his office, which is why even under this presidency, he has made it clear that it's not Tinubu Shettima presidency, but Tinubu's presidency.
How has he made it that way? Because I mean, Shettima has been doing very well. He's been quite visible. Has been representing the president at functions. He's been attending functions himself. Has been traveling. So what exactly then could be the issue? Is this just for political reasons? Have you seen the wait, Deji? You are a political juggernaut in the area of journalism. Have you ever seen the president handing over to Shettima, even for one day? Well, I'm not even aware. All the presidents have done the same thing. Of course, that's a point. Which of course. No. Yes. No. Under Buhari presidency in his first tenure, he actually ceded power to Oshiba. Of course, he did. But we also know what happened after then. I mean, So what I'm telling you is that no matter how long Tinubu is out of the country, he never allowed Shettima to be acting president. But let's leave the issue of loyalty. It's not so much at this point. This is a midterm period. We do not know what will happen in the next 2 years. But I think people have also pointed to the kind of what Professor Zulu, Babagana Zulum has done with the lambasting of Nigerian military over the handling of Boko Haram, the rebounding of Boko Haram, that he didn't actually. You think when Zulum, I noticed Zulum do that as well, and you think Zulum was just like acting the vice president's script? Because at some point too, you know, I was surprised at Zulum's position, given that, look, his political godfather is the vice president of the country, and you know, so you would expect that he ought to be circumspect in some of the things he comes out to say. Exactly. What people thought was that he has access to the president. And what he could have done is to seek audience with the president, to have a tete-a-tete with him, and not to openly embarrass the Nigerian military, to the point that there was even an exchange, very hot exchange between Zulum and the Minister of Information and National Orientation. And then, there is also the issue about where the vote is for 2027. My brother, Dr. Hamisu Abdurrahman, mentioned the issue of exchanging exchanging Shettima for Ganduje. It's, with 110 political associations seeking registration, and with the gathering of the northern leaders against Tinubu presidency, the fact that the CPC bloc in APC has expressed dissatisfaction with what they have been able to get out of Bola Tinubu's presidency, the fact that the Muslim ticket doesn't seem to have given the North so much largesse that they expected, the president have to weigh his options. While Bonu is a given for him, he will win. But don't forget that in the Northeast, APC only had 3 states out of 6. Bauchi, Yobe, Bauchi, Taraba, and Adamawa are under PDP. And the president has not been able to woo successfully any of these 3 governors in the Northeast to join APC. But he has been able to get governors in the South, and what the president may be looking at right now is a counter move to a possible registration of ADA, where people like Atiku Abubakar, El Rufai, and some northern power brokers seems to have sympathy for. So if he is able to trade off Ganduje for Kwakwanso with the vote of Kano and the vote of Kaduna, and the fact that the Kebbi is already, even the power brokers in Kebbi has joined the APC, the governor, and I foresee a situation where the Zamfara governor may also join the APC. So the president may actually be looking at appeasing the Northwest with a vice presidential slot. It may not necessarily be Kwakwanso, but let me just
let's just pause it there. Even though personally, if you ask me, I don't see Ganduje replacing Shettima. I don't even see Ganduje picking up the vice presidential ticket. But no,
not Ganduje. I'm talking of Kwakwanso, not Ganduje.
Okay.
Kwakwanso is the person I'm talking about.
I see. But let me come to you, Dr. Hamisu. What's your own take in all of this? I mean, why do you want to fix what is not broken, so to speak? I mean, because the vice president hasn't done badly.
Yeah, you see, DG, there is a clear difference between when you are trying to survive and when you playing real politics that has to do with control indices and indicators that
this is about political expediency.
The outcomes of your permutation. Now, what do I mean by that? Mr. President is running against different tides. Part of the tides is running against is the fact that they not feel shortchanged. They not felt that the bulk of his presidency and the fight to enthrone his presidency rested on their back, and that at the decisive moment that they needed him most, he betrayed them by giving appointment to those that never worked for his success in the first place. And the alignment is real. People ridicule it. People thought it is not real. I think what the strategists of Mr. President don't want to see is the coming together of the trio, El Rufai, Konkoso, Atiku, and others like them that flouted this issue of coalition building. So the strategy, from what I am familiar with, is to convince Konkoso to come back to APC, so that, in winning of elections in Nigeria, in terms of the states with the largest votes, you talk about Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt. Now, once these 3 are secured, they have the largest voting population in terms of state-by-state analysis. When you talk about the regions that have the highest voting population, you talk about the Northwest, then Southwest second. Now, when you look at it from that very perspective, I think the Southeast is last on the list, followed by followed by Northeast. Northeast is fifth in terms of voting population.
Yeah, that's true.
And what the strategies of Mr. President are trying to do is to ensure that Konkoso don't join the coalition, is brought on board. And then for the fact that Konkoso has been minister, he has been governor, so what would you possibly offer him, if not the vice presidential position? If it were to be a normal political situation, your argument, Deji, will hold water. Because, as you said, one of the key things that people look out for in politics will be, 1, loyalty, 2, capacity to do your job, 3, being able to protect the interest of your principal. In all of these 3 qualities, he possesses it. And I think it is still the same quality that drove Governor Zulum to do what he did, because they will see it as a betrayal. But to Mr. President, is pursuing his political ambition, is pursuing his political interest. And as Machiavelli rightly told us, which is one of the things that we practice and our elite do practice it, the end justify the means. And the West told us that there is no permanent interest, only there is no permanent friends, but what? Permanent interest. So in Nigerian politics, it is mostly about permanent interest, and that is exactly what is playing out. So the interest of Shettima can be jettisoned, it can be sacrificed at the altar of the survival of Mr. President. After all, when a ship is sinking and the only hope is to protect the captain, I think everything should be done to protect the captain. I think that is what Mr. President's strategists are trying to do, irrespective of the consequences that we follow. They are aware that the people of the Northeast will fight back. And one of the things that people don't know in Nigeria is there is always a political rivalry between the Northwest and the Northeast, historically, in terms of politics, issues around religion, issues around culture, and so on and so forth. So it is as it is. The president needed to fight back, and is fighting back, and he feels that he can throw Shettima under the bus.
Mr. Ojo, you don't think there might be a backlash? And do you think Shettima too, we're out of time, but I want you to just speak on this for just some few seconds. Do you think there might be a backlash for this, that the president could suffer a backlash if he made, everything is still in the realm of speculation anyway, so our audience should understand that, but if the vice president was to be changed, don't you think there might be some kind of political backlash? And then do you think the vice president has even helped himself in terms of, because you look at it, he's not been able to broaden his political structure, so to speak?
Well, I won't blame Shettima. It's torn between the devil and the deep blue sea. He doesn't want to appear like overambitious, and we cannot also rule out the rivalry between the Hausa Fulani oligarchy and then the Kanuri. It was surprising that President Tinubu will even go for a Shettima in 2023 when he's seen as a Kanuri man with the voting population of the Kanuri people in the Northeast is limited compared to the Hausa Fulani in the Northwest. But he was able to survive that because the ranks of the opposition was divided. But now that they don't know what ADA will bring to the table, and they want to, it's a game of chess. The president wants to checkmate any move that can truncate his 8 years presidency. And so it's a battle, and whether the issue of replacing Shettima is even a long-term goal. I think in the interim, the president wants to appear like, leading the anti-corruption move. This Ganduje is controversial, is tainted with corruption allegations. So let me look for a cleaner, a more trustworthy ally, because that's the first thing to fix. First, fix the national leadership of APC. He has done it twice. Oshiomhole was thrown under the bus. he brought in Adamu Abdullahi. Adamu Abdullahi was thrown under the bus after helping the APC to victory in 2023. And now Ganduje has been thrown under the bus. That's also the game of politics,
anyway,
which was played by PDP. So the president first need to get the national chairmanship of APC right. He cannot bring in a Kwankwanso to replace Ganduje, but he needs to look for a acceptable candidate from the north-central Nigeria, where Adamu Abdullahi comes from. And because that position has been zoned to the North Central, it has to rightfully go back to them. So in terms of managing that leadership transition, that's the number one headache he has. As to the nomination of Shettima for second tenure, that would be after the president may have secured his own nomination before who becomes the vice president.
Most definitely
will become an issue. So that is the issue of replacing Shettima will come up in the lead up to 2027 when the nomination
that's most definitely, but we know you don't have to wait until that time. Politicians will never wait until that time, and that's why we're seeing
but what I'm trying to tell you is that even though there will be several permutations,
definitely,
and it will also be what is the opposition bringing at them that will determine. Did you hear that some groups are even floating Yakubu Dogara as a possible replacement to Shettima, because he is a Christian from Bauchi State and former number 4 citizen, and so his name is also being mentioned. Whether the president will now go for a Muslim Christian ticket in 2027, that'll be number one question. Does he want to retain Muslim tickets in 2027? That will be second question. Does he want to stick with a Kanuri man at the expense of appeasing the northwestern Hausa Fulani oligarchy? That's the number 3 question. So there will be a lot. And then the performance of his administration in 4 years, whether he will be able to deliver. And because a lot of people are already speculating that with this new tax reform bill that is signed yesterday, that might bring a bigger hardship on Nigeria.
Anyway, on the tax reform bill, I think it's from my own perspective anyway, I think it's a wonderful bill. As someone who runs a small business, I think it's the kind of tax law that I want to see, especially for small businesses in this country. But that's just by the way. Welcome back. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima's political future seems to be hanging in the balance, as signs from within the All Progressives Congress APC point to his likely, because we're not absolutely sure, likely exclusion now from the 2027 presidential ticket. There's no question at all that President Bola Tinubu wants a second term. But whether Shettima is going to be on the ballot with him is difficult to tell at the moment. Now, there are ongoing political permutations that could compel President Bola Tinubu to drop him for another running mate. Now, this comes as 4 northern governors, 2 each from the Northeast and Northwest, and 2 principal officers in the 10th National Assembly are reportedly eyeing the VP seat. Now, reportedly, nothing here is confirmed, but if you've been following the politics and the APC and the intrigues we've seen, especially that big fight in the Northeast APC gathering recently, then you would understand that, there just might be no smoke without fire. Now, following the chaotic APC Northeast stakeholders meeting, some governors and lawmakers have actually begun positioning themselves as potential vice presidential picks. There are also reports that discussions about Shettima's return has divided members of the National Working Committee and the National Executive Committee of the party. However, the national leadership of the APC is said to be trying to manage the matter to avoid creating a crisis for the party in the Northeast. And as we speak, the national chairman of the APC, Umar Ganduje, who is, of course, the former governor of Kano State, has resigned from his position as national chairman. I mean, well, he says he wants to concentrate on his health, but I mean, no doubt this is coming as a very big surprise, and it's a clear pointer that all is not well within the APC. All isn't well within the APC. Well, joining me to discuss all of this is political affairs analyst Jide Ojo, and I also have joining us as well Abdurrahman Abu Hamisu, both of them, of course, joining us from Abuja. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me come to you, Mr. Ojo. Let's start with the resignation. Before we talk about the VP, let's start with the resignation of the APC national chairman, coming as a very big surprise. What do you make of it?
Thank you, Deji. It came as a rude shock and a surprise, but in the game of politics, it's a game of intrigues. And so, as a political scientist, I shouldn't be too surprised, given the fact that the tenure of Ganduje in the last 2 years have been dogged with all manner of controversies, ranging from even his suspension by his ward in Kano, the allegation of corruption against him by the Kano State Anti-Corruption Agency, and also the fact that the North Central APC even has gone to court to challenge his chairmanship, believing that when Senator Abdullahi Adamu, the immediate past chairman of APC, resigned, alongside with Senator Iyola Omishu.
Hi guys, now here we go drop the curtain for now. So how do I see this matter when they grand? Because this katakata, they get, more interesting. Share your thoughts below the comment section. Subscribe to this channel if you have not. Don't forget to like. Thank you. Share this video and make it go viral. Bye for now.